Okay, so today we're going to be talking all about color palettes and how I like to choose my color palettes. And these are honestly really, really simple tools, but also things that I wish I would have known as a beginner. So, the first thing that we're going to look at is Pinterest. Pinterest is so amazing at finding new color palette inspirations. So, as you can see, here are just some of my folders. You can organize everything really nicely on Pinterest into different folders. So you can see here I have color schemes, and that is where I save all of my color palette ideas. So when searching on Pinterest or searching just for color palettes in general, the way that I typically like to do this is either by searching for specific colors or by searching a specific like mood or vibe that you're going for. So, for example, let's just say that I get a custom order request from somebody and they say that their favorite color is purple, so they want something with, we'll say purple, blue, and teal. So then you can literally just go on Pinterest and search purple, blue, and teal color palette. Search. And then you have all of these amazing options. Look at all these, gorgeous. So then, this is just an example, but if you were doing a custom order, then you could take screenshots of all of the different palettes and send it to your customer and let them pick which ones they like best. But yeah, you can just go through and then you can start saving them to your color schemes folder and keep track of them that way. But yeah, Pinterest is amazing for searching. We can do another one. So I got a custom order recently and she wants jewel tones. So we can just look up jewel tone color palette and see what comes up. I like this one, so pretty. So she wants jewel tones, but she specifically mentioned, what was it? Emerald and sapphire. So if you're not finding specifically what you're looking for, you can get more specific. So let's do emerald and sapphire. And then look at all these that come up. So pretty. So yeah, this is a great way to search for different color palettes and different color palette inspiration. I feel that it's really helpful when looking for color palettes to find and see all the colors that you're looking for in a cohesive palette. Seeing them together ahead of time before you pick your colors is really helpful. I struggle. I don't want to say I have like a poor imagination, but I definitely have a hard time just coming up with ideas off the top of my head. It really helps me to visually see these different palettes together so that I can like actually see and visualize what they look like as a palette. Otherwise, it's really hard for me to just randomly pick paints that go well together. So I like seeing them already beforehand before I actually pick the paint. So really helpful. And then another way that you can search for color palettes is by like a feeling or a mood. So we just had our fall season, so a lot of the color palettes I did were really cozy. So you can literally just search cozy color palette and then see what comes up. Like I love this one. So searching by a feeling or a mood is really helpful. I love this one. I'm gonna save that one. Another example is I had a custom order recently and they wanted just like really fun, vibrant color palettes. So we'll just type that, fun and vibrant color palette, and see what comes up. Love that. So searching by the mood that you want, or like the feeling that you want to experience when you look at your painting, that works as well. This is actually the color palette that we ended up doing for that mandala. So Pinterest is a really great resource, and then another just simple resource is Google. So we can just go to google.com and we can do the same exact thing here. So let's search orange desert color palette, because that's a color palette I love to do. And then look at all these that pop up. Just endless amounts of color palettes and inspiration. But I also just like that you can pick very specific colors to search. So let's do a dusty mauve and olive green color palette. And there we go. So many options. So another option that I'm going to show you is an app that I like to use called Palette Cam. So I'm going to hop over to my phone and show you how to use that app. Okay, so this is an app I really like to use to come up with color palettes. So these are all color palettes based off of photos that I have uploaded in the past. So I'll just click on one. So that was just a random picture that I saw on Instagram and really loved the colors. So I took a screenshot of that picture on my phone, and then I uploaded it into this Palette Cam app and created this little color palette. So that way you can pick the colors and see how they all look together. I'm going to give you an example. I just want to show you guys a couple more. That was a custom I did where the guy wanted the mandala to match this photo. So I came up with this color palette and sent it to him for approval. So it's just really nice so that you can upload a photo that you're inspired by and then kind of pick the colors to create a palette and see if you like how the colors look together. So those are just ones that I've done in the past. They also have a library of photos, like inspiration photos that you can scroll through. So we'll pick that first one. Really pretty, lots of like browns, but basically you use this little picker and you can pick the colors. So let's just do maybe like a gradient. We'll start with a brown, and then we'll go to a lighter brown, and then maybe a more reddish, and then maybe just a lighter, and then we'll go to the sand color and then a lighter sand color. So you can kind of like build the palette, and then if you don't like a color, you can just press this Z button and undo it, and then maybe pick like a different color, and oh, I don't like that one, so you just take it out and you can just pick colors until you come up with a palette that you like. And then obviously you'll need to mix your paint or pick your paint to match those colors. So that is just a cool option. You can go through their library of just different photos. That one's pretty. And if you see one that you like, you can just create a palette out of it. You can also upload your own photos, which is what I typically do. I do a lot of hiking and spend a lot of time outdoors, and while I do that, I see a lot of I get a lot of my inspiration from nature. So if I see a landscape that I like, I'll just snap a picture of it and then use this app to kind of create a color palette around it. So I'm going to go to my photos, and I have this one. You can see I already created a palette out of it, but we are just going to redo it. So I'm choosing this photo, and this is actually inspiration sent to me from a friend of mine who I'm going to be making a mandala for. So she sent me this picture as inspiration, and she basically said that she wants a lot of browns and like light oyster colors with pops of green, but not a lot of green. So I'm keeping all that information in mind while picking out this color palette. So I'm going to use the picker, and I think for this one I want to do a lot of brown, so I'll start with that first brown color and then maybe try to find like a lighter brown. And then I really like this orangey color in the mushrooms, but I gotta find a really orange spot. That looks pretty orange. So does this one down here. That looks really orange, so I think I'm gonna delete the last one, do this one. I like for my colors to go in like a gradient, so like dark to light, and then I'm just trying to seeing if I can find like an even more orange color in this palette, or like a lighter orange maybe. Not really. So I'm deleting that one. So now I'm just gonna go, I'm just trying to pick certain colors out of this palette to create like a cohesive color scheme. That one works. And then we'll go to this kind of light oystery color, but see how those ones are picking up like green, which is interesting. So I want to find like a more neutral beige. That one looks good. And then maybe like a more white. And then I think I'll just pick a green. So there is a nice color palette. You can pick as many colors as you want. I will now, once I get the exact palette that I want, download that, send it to my friend, make sure she likes those colors, and then pick out paint that matches. So this is another great resource for coming up with color palettes. Again, these are all ones that I've got inspiration from in the past, just from random pictures that I've seen online. So yes, this is very helpful for picking out color palettes. And lastly, if you just really struggle with finding the color palettes and then finding the specific paint to match that palette, I do have these 20 color palette ideas on my Etsy. I think I have like 3 of them that you can purchase, but basically I have just created a PDF that will give you all of the color palette recipes for these pieces, and I use Deco Art Americana. So this is basically what they look like as I show you a mandala that I painted and then give you the color palette recipe for each piece. I also share color palette recipes on Patreon. So if you've seen me like post my mandalas on social media, all of my newest ones I now share on Patreon. So I currently have about 29, and I'll post the photo of my piece and then share the recipe. So there are a few simple and easy ways to find color palette inspiration. Again, we don't want to overcomplicate things, especially as beginners. Keep it simple is better. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. All right, we'll see you in the next video. If you are interested in learning more from me, I teach weekly live classes over on Patreon. Once you become a Patreon subscriber, you will have instant access to a library of all of my past classes. I also share other things on Patreon, such as my color palette recipes and exclusive discount codes to your favorite dotting suppliers. There is also a 24-hour group chat where you can interact with myself and the community and share photos of your work and ask questions. And you will also have access to Patreon Messenger where you can message me at any time. All right, I hope to see you guys over on Patreon. Details are located in the description of this video.